So you want fresh eggs, but you can't decide between chicken and quail? Well, today I'm going to break down the real cost of raising 10 chickens versus 10 quail over the course of a full year. From setup costs to ongoing expenses and even profit potential, let's find out which one is the best deal for your homestead or for your backyard. And trust me, some of these numbers might surprise you. What's up, guys? My name's Tony. Welcome to my channel. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out my channel a lot. Let's go ahead and get right into it. First, let's talk about what it takes to get started. Whether you choose chicken or quail, you're going to need housing, birds, and some basic supplies. But which one's going to hurt your wallet more up front? In this video, I'm going to go ahead and get all of my prices from Tractor Supply and Hatching Time, just so you guys know where I'm getting these numbers from. Let's start first by talking about housing and equipment costs. You're going to need yourself a coop. You can go ahead and build one yourself for maybe $300 to $500. But if we're talking about buying a coop, Tractor Supply's cheapest coop that fits 10 chickens is going to cost you $699.99, and this is called the Producer's Pride Villa Chicken Coop, and again, it holds anywhere from 10 to 12 chickens. Then you're going to need some fencing for your chicken run. The perimeter for a run for 10 to 12 chickens is probably going to require about 150 feet of 48-inch high wire. At Tractor Supply, this is going to run you about $103.99. Then you're going to need a water and a feeder. For $14.99, you can get a Farm Tough chicken drinker. This comes with adjustable legs. And for $9.99, you can get a Flock Party 7-pound, 15-bird chicken feeder. This will feed your 10 chickens for no problem. And then you're going to need some kind of heat source for your chicks. I recommend a heat plate instead of a heat lamp. And if you go with the Producer's Pride Chicken Coop brooder heater, it's going to cost you $49.99. Now for quail. You can get a stackable quail cage from Hatching Time for $229.99. The water and feeder are included in the price of the Hatching Time cage setup. It's all in one, and the only additional thing you need to buy is the Producer's Pride Chicken Coop brooder and heater for $49.99. So by far, quail are the cheaper option up front for supplies and housing. Next up, let's talk about the cost of the birds themselves. At any online hatchery or any feed store, you're going to run into chickens for about $5 to $10 per chick. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less, depending on the sex and the breed, but that's a fairly standard price for a female chick. And of course, females are popular because they lay eggs. For 10 chicks from an online or in-person hatchery, at minimum, you're kind of looking at $50, and at most, you're going to pay a little bit over $100. For quail, online you can get chicks for as cheap as $1.23 per chick at Cackle Hatchery. For 10 chicks, that comes out to about $12 and can range up to $30 depending on where you buy your quail from. Disclaimer, I should mention that you do often have to order quail in larger quantities than chickens, but you can also order hatching eggs on eBay and other websites, and they're significantly cheaper than chickens overall. So again, the winner here is the quail at being the cheaper bird. Now for the biggest long-term cost, feed. Chickens eat a lot more than quail, and here's how it breaks down over the course of a year. For 10 chickens, they're going to eat 1.5 pounds of feed per day on average. This is going to come to 550 pounds per year. At Tractor Supply, they sell a 50-pound bag of layer food for $15.99, but at some other places, it can get all the way up to $25 for a 50-pound bag. In dollars, this equals $176 to $275 per year, kind of depending on where you live and where you buy your feed from. 10 Coturnix quail, on the other hand, are going to eat about 0.2 pounds of food per day, and this is going to come out to 73 pounds per year. At Tractor Supply, they sell a bag of feed that's 50 pounds for $28.99, so this is going to come out for a yearly cost of $43 for your 10 quail. So in the feed category, the quail win this by a long shot. There's other maintenance costs that come along with raising quail and chickens. You have to remember that your birds, whether they're quail or chickens, they're going to need some kind of bedding. At Tractor Supply, they sell fine premium pine shavings for $7.79 for 5.5 cubic feet. In my experience, 10 chickens are going to go through about 2 bags of this per month, so you could figure about $15 per month or $180 per year on bedding alone for chickens. For quail, you have to use much less for only 10 quail. They're going to go through about 3 bags per year, and this will come out to about $45 or so. So again, quail win this category. They're cheaper to maintain. All right, now let's see what we're getting in return, because both chickens and quail produce eggs, but at very different rates. So if you take an average chicken that produces 250 eggs per year and you times that by 10, that's going to give you 2,500 eggs per year, or 200 dozen eggs. Quail, on the other hand, on average lay 300 eggs per year, and if you times that by 10, that's going to be 3,000 eggs, or 250 dozen quail eggs. So if we want to calculate the price per dozen of eggs produced, For chickens, we would take the $275 of feed cost and divide it by 200 dozen, and that's going to cost $1.38 per dozen. Quail, on the other hand, if we take the $43 per year feed cost and we divide it by 250 dozen, that's going to come out to 17 cents per dozen. So the winner here is clearly the quail. They produced way cheaper eggs. To be fair though, one quail egg's equivalent to about 3 chicken eggs. So you can multiply that 17 cents by 3 to get the true cost of about 51 cents per dozen if you times a quail egg by 3 for an equal apples to apples comparison with chicken eggs. But even with this, it's still much cheaper per dozen than chicken eggs. Meat production. If you're just raising meat chickens, you can butcher them usually at 8 to 12 weeks and quail butcher at 6 to 8 weeks. And again, quail win here. They are much faster to raise for meat. However, keep in mind that they're going to be much smaller. The jumbo's maxing out around 16 ounces or so. So that the chickens are going to be much bigger. So it totally depends on what you're looking for. Now let's go ahead and talk about the hidden cost and challenges that most people don't consider before jumping into raising chickens or quail. First of all, legal restrictions. Chickens may not be allowed in urban areas, especially roosters. And then quail are game birds, which may require a permit. I know, for example, bobwhite quail will require permits in certain states where they are found in nature. Another thing to consider is that most HOAs that ban chickens don't necessarily mention quail, so this could be kind of like a little loophole. Now, considering time and effort, chickens need daily cleaning and free ranging, and quail, on the other hand, require less maintenance. They need to be cleaned every couple days or so, and they don't require a run. The hatching time cage that they live in is all the room that the quail need to live. It's important to consider noise and personality. Chickens can be loud, especially roosters, but hens can still cluck pretty loud, so keep that in mind if you have neighbors. Quail are much quieter, but they're not as interactive. They definitely sound like Tweety birds, and they can blend in a lot more, so if you're trying to hide your birds, quail are definitely a lot easier to hide from places like an HOA or something like that. So it all really comes down to what you're looking for. So after breaking it all down, which one is truly a better deal? Well, if you look at this table for 10 chickens and 10 quail, you can see that the housing and setup is going to be $879 for the chickens and $279 for the quail. For the birds themselves, 10 chickens are going to run you about $50 and 10 quail could run up to $30. However, for both, you could find them for cheaper or a little bit more expensive. The yearly feed cost for your 10 chickens is going to come out to about $275, and for your 10 quail, it's going to be about $43. For your bedding costs every year, it's going to run you about $180 from Tractor Supply for your 10 chickens and only about $45 from Tractor Supply for your 10 quail. This brings your total yearly cost for chickens to $1,384 and your total yearly cost for quail to about $398. This is a $986 price difference, so in your first year, it's going to save you about $986, almost $1,000 to go with quail instead of going with chickens. Now, one important thing to consider is that a lot of the costs mentioned above were just one-time costs. So if you look at the section on the table that talks about the yearly cost after investment, every year after your first year, it's going to cost you about $455 to maintain your 10 chickens, and it's going to cost you about $88 per year to maintain your 10 quail. So when it's all said and done, quails definitely win for being cheaper and easier to raise. However, chickens can win if you want larger eggs, if you want a more interactive flock, or if you want easier legal approval depending on the area that you live in. Quail will win if you want lower costs, if you have limited space, and if you want more eggs for the cost. So at the end of the day, it totally depends on your goals. If you want big eggs and a classic farm experience, chickens are for you. But if you want fast egg production, minimal maintenance, and lower costs, quail are the way to go. I have both, and I have videos on quail and chicken, so make sure to check out the other videos that are going to be linked right up here soon, and feel free to check out my channel. So what do you guys think? Do chickens or quail fit your lifestyle better? Let me know down in the comments. And if you like this breakdown, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and check out my other poultry videos. It really helps out my channel a lot. And as always, until next time, stay cool.